Kaylin Thomas walked into Sterling National Bank with the confidence of someone who had earned every penny in his pocket. The $5,000 check represented 3 months at his first architecture internship, commuting 2 hours each way, staying late to perfect blueprints while other teens enjoyed their summer. This wasn't just money to Kaylin. It was his future. College textbooks. Maybe even the start of his own design business someday. All he wanted was to open his first adult savings account. The teller greeted him warmly as he approached the counter. But the moment he slid his check forward, everything changed. Her smile vanished. Her eyes darted between his face and the check. "One moment," she said, her tone shifting from warm to clinical instantly. Kaylin felt the first flash of uncertainty as the branch manager emerged from her office. Her arms crossed defensively as she approached, keeping a noticeable distance between them. "I'll need to verify this," she announced loudly enough for other customers to hear, gesturing him away from the main floor toward a small glass office. Just yesterday, Kaylin's supervisor had handed him this very check with a firm handshake. "You've earned this. You have real talent." His professor had praised his portfolio. His hard work had paid off. Now, in the bank, the branch manager picked up her phone while fixing her gaze on Kaylin. He reached for his own phone in response. If you've ever been judged before someone even knew your name, hit that like button right now. This story is just beginning. Inside the glass-walled office, Kaylin sat across from the branch manager and assistant manager. Their faces wore identical expressions of suspicion. The transparency of the walls meant everyone in the bank could see him. Isolated, questioned, treated like a criminal. "Where did you get this check?" the branch manager asked, holding it by the corner as if it might contaminate her fingers. "From my internship," Kaylin replied, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "I worked at Barrett Architecture all summer." "A $5,000 check for an intern?" The assistant manager raised an eyebrow. "That seems excessive." Kaylin felt heat rising in his face. "I can show you my pay stub. I have my student ID and our verification system is down today," the branch manager interrupted, typing nothing in particular on her keyboard. Her eyes never met his. "This amount triggers our fraud protocols." The confusion in Kaylin's mind transformed into something heavier. Each second under their scrutiny stripped away another layer of his dignity. The pride he'd felt walking in had evaporated, replaced by a hollowing shame. 2 more bank employees peered through the glass walls, whispering. To them, he wasn't a hard-working architecture student. He was a spectacle. A suspect. The branch manager's phone call came next, her voice deliberately hushed but still audible. "Yes, we have a situation. Possible fraudulent check. Young male? Yes, that would be appreciated." Kaylin's stomach tightened. "Did you just call the police?" "It's standard procedure for checks over a certain amount," she replied coolly. "If everything's legitimate, you have nothing to worry about." But her tone said otherwise. Her eyes said otherwise. The gathered staff watching through the glass said otherwise. In that moment, Kaylin realized no amount of explanation would matter. They'd made their judgment before he'd said a word. His credentials, his achievements, his humanity, none of it mattered once they decided what they saw. With trembling fingers, he pulled out his phone. "I'm calling my mother," he said, his voice finding new strength. The branch manager's face flickered with uncertainty for the first time. "That's not necessary. The officers will be here shortly to sort this out." But Kaylin was already dialing. "Mom," he said when she answered. "I'm at Sterling National Bank. They think my check is fake. They've called the police." Subscribe to Black Narratives for stories that expose injustice and celebrate resistance. 23 minutes later, Dr. Aaliyah Thomas strode through the bank doors with purpose in every step. The branch fell silent as she crossed the lobby, her heels striking a rhythm that commanded attention. Every eye followed her path to the glass office where Kaylin waited. "I'm Dr. Aaliyah Thomas, professor of constitutional law at Georgetown University," she announced as she entered the room. Her voice carried the quiet authority of someone accustomed to lecture halls and courtrooms. "I understand there's confusion about my son's check." The branch manager's demeanor shifted immediately. "We're simply following protocol, Dr. Thomas. Large deposits require verification." "Interesting," Dr. Thomas replied, placing her briefcase on the desk. May I see your written verification policy and the specific steps you've taken to verify the check before involving law enforcement? The manager and assistant exchanged glances. I see, Dr. Thomas continued, removing her phone. I'll be recording our conversation from this point forward, for everyone's protection. She pressed record, stating the date, time, and circumstances clearly. Now, my son presented a paycheck from Barrett Architecture, where he completed a summer internship. Before calling police, did anyone contact Barrett to verify the check's authenticity? Our system for verification is— That wasn't my question, Dr. Thomas interrupted. A simple yes or no will suffice. No, the manager admitted reluctantly. Then we'll do that now. Dr. Thomas pulled out a business card. This is the contact information for Barrett's HR director. Please call her immediately. Two police officers appeared at the door of the glass office. Dr. Thomas acknowledged them with a nod. Officers, I'm glad you're here to witness this. My son has been detained under suspicion of fraud without any verification attempts. Did you know that banking discrimination incidents increased 43% in the last 3 years? The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau documented over 1,200 formal complaints about racial bias in banking institutions last year alone. The branch manager reluctantly dialed the number. When Barrett's HR director answered, her voice came through clearly on speakerphone, confirming not only the check's validity, but praising Kaylin's exceptional work. The check is completely legitimate, the HR director stated firmly. Kaylin was our top intern this summer. Is there a problem? The police officers exchanged looks. One stepped forward. Ma'am, he addressed the branch manager, it appears there's no criminal matter here. Dr. Thomas kept recording as the officers apologized to Kaylin. The power in the room had shifted completely. Her presence had transformed her son from suspect to victim, from powerless to protected. If you're still watching, comment dignity below to join our community. That evening, Dr. Thomas uploaded her phone recording to social media. My son, his check, Sterling National Bank. Watch how quickly a deposit becomes detention. By midnight, the video had been viewed 2.3 million times. By morning, national news outlets picked up the story. Banking while black teen humiliated over legitimate paycheck, read the headlines. Dr. Thomas appeared on 3 morning shows, her composed dignity making the bank's actions look even more outrageous. Sterling National's PR team scrambled, releasing a statement about taking all complaints seriously and reviewing the circumstances. But the damage was done. Sterling's stock dropped 3.7% before markets even opened. What the bank didn't know, their own security cameras had captured everything. Every moment, every angle, every dismissive glance and accusatory posture. The overhead camera showed Kaylin's polite demeanor as he approached the counter. The lobby camera captured the teller's immediate change in expression when she saw the check. The office camera recorded the branch manager's call to police before any verification attempt. The entrance camera documented the unnecessary police presence for a routine banking matter. At 8:42 a.m., a whistleblower from Sterling's security department leaked screenshots from the footage to a journalist. The bank's statement doesn't match what happened, the anonymous email read. The cameras show everything. By noon, Sterling National faced a full-blown crisis. Their carefully crafted statement claiming proper protocols were followed collapsed against the visual evidence. The bank's social media accounts flooded with comments. News vans parked outside headquarters. Throughout American history, financial institutions have played a central role in economic discrimination. From the 1865 collapse of the Freedmen's Bank that wiped out black Civil War veterans' savings to the 2008 targeting of black homeowners with predatory loans, banking discrimination has evolved but never disappeared. These individual incidents connect to a pattern stretching back generations. But technology has shifted the balance of power. What once would have been dismissed as a customer's exaggeration now plays in high definition for the world to see. The cameras meant to protect the bank's assets had instead exposed its practices, and Sterling National Bank was about to learn just how expensive discrimination could be. At 6:30 a.m. the following morning, a black Lexus with tinted windows pulled up to Sterling National's main branch. Marcus Reynolds, CEO of Sterling National Bank, rarely visited individual branches. Today was different. The regional manager met him at the door, face pale with worry. "The security footage, all of it," Reynolds demanded, his voice cutting through the morning quiet. "My office has been flooded with calls from board members, major shareholders, and reporters from every network. I need to see what happened." In the branch manager's office, Reynolds watched in silence as the footage played on the monitor. The customer service representative's immediate suspicion, the branch manager's decision to isolate Kalin, the call to police made before any verification attempt, Dr. Thomas's arrival, and the undeniable proof that the check was legitimate. With each passing minute, Reynolds's expression hardened. When the footage ended, he remained silent for a full 30 seconds. "Our core value statement," he finally said, "prominently displayed in every branch, promises respect and dignity for every customer. What I just witnessed violates everything this institution claims to stand for." He straightened his tie. "Call the 3 employees involved in this incident to a meeting, now." When the branch manager, assistant manager, and teller assembled, Reynolds didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "The security footage shows clear violations of our verification protocols, customer service standards, and anti-discrimination policies," he stated. "You called law enforcement on a customer without taking basic verification steps. You subjected a young man to public humiliation based on assumptions rather than facts." He placed 3 envelopes on the desk. "Your employment with Sterling National Bank is terminated, effective immediately. Human Resources will escort you to collect your personal belongings." That afternoon, Reynolds met with Kalin and Dr. Thomas at the bank's downtown headquarters. The conference room windows overlooked the city where Kalin had spent his summer internship. "What happened to you reflects a failure of leadership, training, and culture," Reynolds admitted. "I offer my personal and professional apology." He slid a document across the table. "This settlement acknowledges the harm done. It includes compensation for emotional distress and a full scholarship fund for your architectural studies." Dr. Thomas reviewed the papers with a lawyer's precision. "And the systemic changes? Mandatory verification protocols before any law enforcement contact, new training for all customer-facing staff, and an external audit of our policies by civil rights experts," Reynolds detailed. "With your permission, we'd like to use the security footage in our training programs." This outcome was exceptional. According to banking industry reports, only 2% of discrimination complaints result in employee termination. Just 0.5% lead to policy changes. Most incidents end with standard apologies and minimal compensation, if acknowledged at all. What made this different? Irrefutable video evidence, social media pressure, and leadership that recognized the true cost of discrimination went far beyond a single settlement. Share this video to show what real accountability looks like. What happened to Kalin represents more than an isolated incident. The numbers tell a disturbing truth. Black Americans are 5 times more likely to be denied banking services than white customers with identical financial profiles. According to the Federal Reserve, Black-owned businesses are rejected for loans at twice the rate of white-owned businesses, even with comparable credit scores. These statistics aren't accidents. They reflect systems designed with built-in assumptions about who belongs and who doesn't. When a bank employee sees a young black man with a large check, unconscious bias often activates before conscious thought begins. This split-second judgment becomes discrimination when it triggers different procedures than would be applied to other customers. Financial institutions can transform this reality through concrete actions. Implement uniform verification protocols applied equally to all customers. Remove subjective suspicion as grounds for escalation. Require documentation of all law enforcement contacts. Conduct regular bias audits using mystery shoppers across racial backgrounds. Tie executive compensation to diversity and inclusion metrics. For individuals facing potential discrimination, remember these steps. Know your rights. Banks cannot deny service based on race. Document everything. Note names, times, and specific actions. Request written explanations of any unusual procedures. Contact the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to file formal complaints. Use your phone to record interactions when legally permitted. Change is happening. Citizens Bank recently implemented a verification before escalation policy that reduced police calls by 87%. First Republic Bank now requires manager approval and documented verification attempts before any law enforcement contact. Black-owned financial institutions like One United Bank have grown their customer base by 42% over 2 years. The most powerful tool remains our collective voice. When we share these stories, demand better policies, and move our money to institutions that respect all customers, we create incentives for meaningful change. Keelan's experience became a catalyst because he and his mother refused to accept injustice quietly. They turned personal humiliation into public accountability. This is Black Narratives. For more stories that matter, like and subscribe. What banking experiences have you had? Let us know in the comments below. 6 months later, Keelan sits at his drafting table in his dorm room, working on a design project. The settlement money funded his education, but the experience funded something more valuable: his resolve. On his wall hangs a framed letter from a 16-year-old boy in Detroit who saw his story and successfully challenged a similar banking incident. "You showed me I could stand up for myself," the letter reads. "Do you ever regret it?" Keelan asks his mother during her weekend visit. Going public with everything? Dr. Thomas takes a moment before answering. There's always a cost to speaking truth, but there's a greater cost to silence. She helps him organize his portfolio as they talk. "When I was your age, my father told me something I never forgot. He said dignity isn't what others give you, it's what you refuse to let them take from you." Keelan nods. The bank CEO called yesterday. They've implemented those new policies nationwide. He said complaints are down 62% already. "That's your legacy," his mother replies. "Not just for you, but for everyone who walks through those doors." Later that week, Keelan enters Community First Credit Union. The teller greets him warmly as he explains he'd like to open a business account for his new architectural design service. "Congratulations," she says, processing his paperwork efficiently. "That's impressive entrepreneurship for someone still in college." No suspicion, no isolation, no assumptions, just respect. Black Narratives continues to spotlight stories of injustice, resistance, and triumph. We document these moments not to dwell on pain, but to illuminate paths toward change. As Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall once said, "Where you see wrong or inequality or injustice, speak out, because this is your country. This is your democracy. Make it, protect it, pass it on."